Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am making a return to my series on Hyperborea 3rd edition. So I'll be covering Chapter 5, Character Backgrounds and Races today. I was reminded to get back to this back to this game system because in my last video where I was talking about the 5 to 8 games that I intended to either run or play this year 2024, Hyperborea is certainly a game system that I see often run at conventions, and it's certainly something that I am going to be on the lookout for to play as a player at Rising Phoenix in April. And then after my experience of actually playing it, then I am going to look to probably run this, and I will probably run this at ShireCon in September. So getting back into this and taking a look at it again, I was like, well, it kind of fell off my radar, but I definitely want to get back into this and just looking it over for a second time. I'm really starting to get very excited about this. I already see a connection to Call of Cthulhu and a product that I have to pick up. I'm certainly going to buy that, and that's probably what I'm going to run at ShireCon. So, and I'll show you that really quickly. So, but definitely ordering that today, and definitely looking forward to getting it in my hands so I can start reading it and really start to get ready for September. As remarkable as that might seem, that you start prepping for convention play 6 months out is certainly not something that's extraordinary. So anyway, without further ado, let's start taking a look at Chapter 5, Character Backgrounds and Races. So here, and I am going to expand this view for you. So Chapter 5, Background. Character's background comprises race, physique, alignment, languages, religion, and secondary skills. Of course, every player character must have a name, perhaps inspired by historical or fictional examples. Some players may invent names from whole cloth. Others might create anagrams of their own names. If you wish to generate an authentic sounding name, refer to Appendix A, Hyperborean Name Generator. I'm going to pause this for a second and make sure that that's just a wasted call. Sorry, never mind. I'm going to let that just keep on running. So, depending on the style and preference of play, good, it stopped. Sorry about that. Depending on the style and preference of play, further information may be developed, including character history, personality, place of origin, general outlook, and attitude. Place of origin need not be specified or specific. One might simply say a small farming village or a busy port city, and so forth. Races. Races in Hyperborea are cultural and ethnic groupings with shared physical traits, social characteristics, language, customs, dress, and common geographic origins, most of which can be traced back to Old Earth. The Hyperborean race is the autochthonous, do not know how to pronounce that word, race of Hyperborea. Other races crossed the veil at different times, oft contributing to diametrical cultural variance despite the relatively small size of the realm. 12 primary races with notable to diminishing populations are extant in Hyperborea. 9 are considered pure races, Two are hybrid races, and one, the largest, is the melange of indeterminate ancestries and or racial admixtures. Wow, the vocabulary in this is pretty high end, let's say. 12 ancillary races are measured to be either less populous, on the brink of extinction, or not properly surveyed by the sages of Cromarion. Of these, 10 are considered pure races. One is considered a somewhat recent hybridization, and one is deemed a consequence of otherworldly tampering. In total, 24 races are reckoned to survive in Hyperborea. In sooth, even amongst the most accounted for races, ambiguities are widespread and census numbers are lacking, i.e., none can say with any certainty how many Cimmerians live in the subterranean city of Crimea, except for the Cimmerians themselves. Likewise, for the half-blood tribes sequestered in the rainforest deeps of the savage boreal coast, enclosing other races unbeknownst to sages may hide in remote corners of the realm, whilst others might unexpectedly arrive in numbers small or large, such being the mystical nature of the Boreas. Generating racial derivation. For purposes of gameplay, choosing a specific player character race is not necessary. When in doubt, simply select a common man or woman. For the aid of players and referees who might prefer to draw inspiration from the whims of the dice, race may be rolled randomly using a D100, and if the results are 96 to 100, a D12 follows up. All right. So you could be common, Amazon, Atlantean, Esquimau, Hyperborean, Isian, Celt, Cimmerian, Cimmeri-Celt, Pict Half-Blood, Viking, or see Table 67. Table 67 here is Anglo-Saxon, Carolinian, Frank, Equinox, Ixian, Greek, Lap, Lemurian, Moor, Mu, Un, Roman, Tlingit, or Yakut. Simply selecting a specific race in lieu of rolling for one also can be enjoyable. All right, so you can basically just go with common or make a randomized roll or just select. Common, people of the mix or indeterminate ancestry. Typical ancestries include Celt, Cimmerian, Pict, and or Viking blood, although most any mix is possible, and so on. So you can get all of these different mixtures. The city-state of Comorium is known as the jewel of the kingdoms of Hyperborea. The city-state of Comorium is a dismal, seedy place choked by the smoke of the factories. It is the largest center of population in Hyperborea, and it boasts the greatest degree of cultural, racial, and religious diversity in the realm, and so on. And then they go through some other cities here. They talk about the Amazon race. So they're going to go through each of the races and talk about each of the races and what are their traits and physical traits and such. And a little bit about their place within the geography. Let's see. So Atlanteans, which is your greatest connection, I think, to Robert E. Howard's um, Hyperborean age. So the Atlanteans, and obviously King Kull was an Atlantean. So let's see. Scattered remnants of the nearly extinct race whose origins trace back to the old Earth's antediluvian Atlantis. In the days of yore, the sorcerer scientists of Atlantis were coevals of the Hyperboreans, much like the people of Lemuria and Mu. Atlanteans are of medium build with jaundiced to glaucous complexion, black or blonde hair, aquiline features, a pale gray or yellow eyes. And Atlanteans are sexually incompatible with other races, perhaps due to the development of aquatic traits, webbed digits, and amphibious respiratory systems, including gill slits on their necks and oily skin that dries painfully if not immersed in salt water periodically. Typical homelands are as follows, and that is the Atlantica, the trio of islands, and the city-state of Comoria, Sea Common Race, and Port Zandirios, a Common Race port, and so on. So you go through all of the various races that your character can be, including some real world races, as you can see here, Greek. You could be the pure blood, like the Hyperborean, if you wish, or Celt, which is the ancestry of Irish and Celtic and Scottish, and you could be that. Lemurians is one of the older races, and so they go here as well. So small people averaging just over 5 feet in height with lean bodies and long arms. The Lemurian skin range from a jaundice to tan complexion, and their hair is straight and dark. And they're typically seen as one of those ancient old world races. We have Moors, and we have Mu. Mu is one of those other ancient old earth races, like the Atlanteans and the Lemurians. If I were to run something like this at like my own kind of a campaign setting and everything, I would have it focus really on some of these old world races, including Picts as well, and not have some of those other connections like Romans or things along those lines. I would probably set it back much further into the history. So so that's all. That's all the racial ethnic breakdown. Then you have physique, and so this is the section where you start to determine, what your character's physical height and weight and gender and age all come into play here. Some of them have different height and weight range effects. Eye color, hair color, and complexions. You can roll some of these and you can determine them that way if you wish. They talk about some of the common traits of hair, eye, and complexion by race here. You can always break from that if you wish. Alignment. So alignment, you have your barbarism. I like this one here. So you have your barbarism, which is on the chaos side, your civilization, which is on the law side, and then you have your basically your 9 general categories. So you will have lawful, chaotic, lawful good, chaotic evil, lawful evil. You will have your pure chaos, your pure evil, your pure law, your good on this point, and then neutral right in the center. Um, I mean, they may, let's see. Alignment is governed by the opposing forces of law and civilization. They're subdivided into either of the good and evil, the alignments lawful good and lawful evil, chaotic good and chaotic good, define the worldview of most intelligent beings, and neutrality forms a nexus of behavior. So actually, they don't have the 9 categories like you have in AD&D. You basically have the 5, but they're showing the other, um, just the other points that they're on. So this is just on the good scale to evil, just on the law to the chaos. So you're not going to have the lawful neutral, the pure neutral, and the chaotic neutral here. Um, I guess all neutrals just fall within that neutral category without need of identifying it beyond that point. Let's take a look at it. So, neutral, to be indifferent to law, chaos, good, and evil. Neutral creatures typically focus on survival, hence, this alignment is oft associated with the animal kingdom. Intelligent creatures of this alignment are honest and trustworthy when it benefits them, and generally they obey the laws when it's also to their advantage. All right. And here they have such alignments may be listed as neutral good, neutral evil, neutral lawful, or neutral chaotic. We go into languages here, and you're going to have your language here. So let's see what stands out. So you have common, you have Berber, rare language spoken by the Moors of the Zakath desert of Ythorium. You have Esquimalt, a coastal dialect. You have the Esquimaux, Esquimalt tundra dialect, sorry, coastal, then tundra. Then you have the Esquimalt Ixian, which is a pidgin language, pidgin that contains some of the other dialects mixed in with common. And you have all of these various dialects and such. You have Hellenic, you have Latin, for the Romans and the Carolingians. So they break it down as to which groups most likely speak which languages. And they go into much more detail into each of those languages. Then religion. So religion here, the people of the Hyperborea are wont to glorify otherworldly beings, alien entities, animistic and ancestral spirits, and other mysterious forces of deific power. The Zathoquan orthodoxy, originally introduced by the indigenous Hyperboreans, is doubtless the most prevalent of faith. I'm going to make this a little bit larger so you can read along with it. Its practice transcends boundaries of species and race. Regardless, mankind typically serves powers that accord with the ethos of law, chaos, and neutrality, oft beseeching or praying to deities that, in their perception, share their personal philosophy. However, many worship out of racial cultural obligation or to appease that which they fear, so the alignment of the follower may not match the reckoned alignment of the deity. Many people supplicate one principled belief of worship. Some venerate deity pairings such as Apollo and Artemis, Zakwa and Cthulhu, or Ymir and Uller. Others cry out to whatever powers they think will benefit them Others still have no tongue for any of it, such as in the religion of Hyperborea. Selecting one of the more 24 deities presented below is not required during character creation, even for clerics and related subclasses. A character might develop a religious connection through gameplay, or perhaps never, except for the On. Each race is noted as the typical followers of at least one deity, but a player character need not be typical. The On have no conception of the gods until they escape their alien masters. So you have Apollo, you have Artemis, you have Oros, Ouroboros, you have Azathoth, you have Boetzu, Boreas, Helios, Kraken, Krimir, Cthulhu, Lunaqua, Mordezan, Raven, Rel, which is the god of thieves, Tamagorga, Tlaknaka, a deity of neutrality associated with spiders, death, poison, and so on. Ulur, deity of chaos associated with Viking longships. Zafkua, a deity of chaos associated with life, death, reincarnation, pestilence, disease, luck, misfortune, cruelty, savagery, mischief. Kind of looks like a frog's eye. Yig, the great serpent. Yikaroth, the ashen worm. A lot of them are neutral, it appears. Ymir, the deity of chaos associated with the mountain, snow, mist, bizarre, and unabridged rage. He is said to manifest as a blue-bearded frost giant with a tremendous axe of blue ice steel. And so on. So we go Yunde, Ithaqua, which are Wendigo, Yug or Yog. So secondary skills. So that's all of the religions and possible deities that your characters can worship, or they can choose not to. Professional or trade skills typically are developed from childhood to adolescence. They may have little overlap with the character's class, oft attributed to environment, upbringing, social economic status, and culture. The son of the potter likely is learned in the same craft, and so on and so forth. So let's see, we have a pretty decent list, right? So you have about 60 different secondary skills. So that's pretty substantial. And we get to chapter 6 at that point. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of excuse me. There's quite a bit of detail there. So really excited about taking a look at that. As they suggest, you can leave certain portions of that out. You don't even have to bother detailing it. So that's also a plus. You can just decide to, I'm just going to let some of this kind of happen as it goes along, especially like the religion. Your alignments don't seem to be tied very strongly to your character, so you can be flexible within those as well. Even if you're a priest or a cleric type, you're still not tied even to a deity in that point. You would probably just kind of stick to some kind of a sensible connection to whatever. And like they mentioned, you can, some people just go through their life calling upon whatever deity seems to be the most appropriate for them in the moment. If you were a big Conan the Barbarian fan, it's he often doesn't call on Crom, but he'll call on Mitra or you know, various other deities that are, you know, that are also part of mostly those Western Hyperborean civilizations there. And he doesn't call upon Crom because Crom is you know, an uncaring god, and usually wouldn't answer your calls anyway, or probably never answer your calls anyway. So that's a perfect example of how people in this particular setting, you know, will call upon deities, you know, whatever kind of matches what they think will get them the best result. So really cool stuff. I did want to bring up another page. So this is their actual web page for purchasing. Oops, sorry. For purchasing things. So let me take a look at this. And I am going to get this, right? So Rats in the Walls and Other Perils is an adventure booklet that I am certainly going to purchase. And this I will probably be running. So this is that H.P. Lovecraft connection. And I'm just starting a Call of Cthulhu campaign for, you know, alternating Friday nights and everything. So taking a look at this, I'm certainly going to pick this up and most likely run it because I like the level range of this too. Is it's going to run from first to second level, and then you could just go through these short little adventures because I know that there's probably more than one in here, and definitely going to pick this up. So I'm really excited about this. I'm not sure if this comes as both physical, which I will, you know, would get anyway, and if there is a PDF version of this as well when you make the purchase. So that's something I will look into, but definitely going to buy this anyway. So that is my look at Chapter 5 of Hyperborea 3rd edition, and really excited about taking a look at this, and hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry, I know it was kind of tough with those pronunciations of some of those words, and the, you know, the text of this is really, like I said, high end. I mean, I'm an educated person, and I'm still coming across these words. I was like, wow, that's just you know, that's just pretty high up in there. You know, don't don't get too hung up on some of the language. If you're getting hung up, especially on pronunciations of made up names and everything, just breeze right through it and say however it sounds like to you, and don't worry so much about pronunciation of you know, of these bizarre words. So anyway, hope you like this video. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. Take care.